Welcome to HawkTalk. I'm Parker Robinson, and I'm joined by Nathaniel Easton. It's been a while since we caught up with the basketball coaches, so we'll be touching base with both of them. So without further ado, Coach Wetzel, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you. It's been a while since we talked and started the season hot, 4-0 in conference play, and then went on a few road trips, and things look a little bit different in the standings, but you're still on top with a win against Valley. How's the team came back from that struggle?
Yeah, to kind of add what you said, we did start well, 4-0, and there's really only one conference road trip we stumbled. It was right after, not directly after the Christmas break, but it was our first league games back after Christmas break. To talk about that first, we're 6-2 in league, and that road trip was our 2 losses. It's a long, grueling road trip, and we looked like a team that was on a bus for 10 hours. I think we did enough defensively in those games, held our opponents under 70. I think the Viterbo game ended up being 71, but we had to foul at the end. We just didn't do enough offensively, and what I attribute that to is offensive rhythm and some timing, lack of ball movement. But it was really that one road trip where we stumbled, and as you alluded to, we've been able to get back on track with 4 straight at this point. Puts us in first place record-wise, tied with Bellevue, but as of now, we hold the tiebreaker, so we're in first with a lot of basketball left.
At one point, after losing those 2 on the road in that one trip, we were in Aberdeen, South Dakota, and down early there. What was it like to see the team kind of come together and not panic after 2 conference losses and really get over the hump there, and kind of open things up for the fresh start of the new conference play?
Yeah, this is, I've done this for 16 years, and I can say this is a unique group in the essence of, you wonder if they have a pulse at some time in the locker room. They're all competitive, but you don't. We have a few guys who will be that stereotypical emotional, hey, we're down, we're better than this, and then you'll see the majority of our group just kind of taking it in and making adjustments and going out and hopefully acting on those, and unfortunately, we've been down at the half our last 2 conference games. Fortunately, we've made adjustments and we've won those games. So it's hard. Your question's a fair one, but what it's like, it's new territory for me a little bit. It's unique. This time of year, the stereotypical rah, you're down. They're either going to figure it out or they won't. We're talking mid-January. So I think this group kind of internally, they know, hey, we're not playing as well as we should. Let's go out and make these adjustments. There's just not a lot of physical, change that one might think happens in a locker room when your team is down.
Kind of on the same note, Valley gets off to an 8-0 start, and a lot of coaches in that situation call the quick timeout, collect everyone. But you don't necessarily have to do that because you have a guy like Jerry Shevlin, 6-man off the bench. He kind of gives the game a different feel. So talk a little bit about the bench and what options that gives you as a coach.
I'm not a big timeout guy. I think there's a time and place for it. The whole stopping of the momentum, there's some validity in that. But, it's January. We just spent 20 minutes in the locker room talking about what we felt our keys are. If you can't come out and execute that and they jump out on an 8-0 lead, what am I going to do on a timeout? You're going to have to learn to play through this or through our substitutions, our rotations. And what you're saying is a great point. We have the ability to insert some guys that can maybe make that change from an energy standpoint or a strategy standpoint without me calling a timeout. Now, does that mean I'll never call a timeout? No, but, I would rather see us play through it, and I'd rather, to be frank, hold on to those for endgame situations if possible, but I try not to panic and burn those and try to change that through, 1, letting the 5 on the court play themselves through it, and 2, as you said, interjecting some different lineups in to hopefully change that.
also on the bench is our guest last week, Reggie Fields Jr. He hasn't been a part of what you've been able to use since we've spoken with you. So talk about getting him back and the energy, the spark. You talk. Not everyone has that on this team, but I think we all saw last week how infectious he is.
Oh yeah, he's an emotional leader. He's a big personality. Unique young man, you know what I mean? He's talked about being a veterinarian. He likes motorcycles, and he's from inner city Inglewood, California. You don't see that a lot. But my point is, he's just a big personality, and he offers a little bit of an emotional leader for us. Now, the key is having him hone those emotions positively, and he's grown a lot in that. But yeah, he interjects a lot. Obviously, basketball-wise, he does. He's a 6'7" athlete. He can guard multiple positions. Great mid-range game, but from a locker room standpoint, he interjects a lot of energy, and he holds guys accountable through his own actions. Hey, I bring it every day. I go hard every day, every second. You guys better come along with me. Type of attitude.
Absolutely. So to recap, we talked quite a bit about struggles, first half struggles for a team that's 6-2, first place in the conference. We're through part one. You'll see all these teams again. So what have you learned in your now going on 3 years in this conference that A, leaves you excited, but B, maybe keeps you up at night knowing what's waiting in the second half of the season?
Well, what I've learned is he's a lot tougher host than you, because we're 6-2 and in first place. First time this program's been in first place this deep in the season, and a lot before you guys might have been born. And he's talking about struggle, so I better really be good next year when he's the. I'd hate to see you if we're 4-4. But you know, that's to answer your question. This is such a coaching cliche, but you're obviously excited. You're excited that you're in a position to make a run in first place. I heard a cliche on the not necessarily a cliche, but a great point the other night. Coach Graupe's close friend Tim Miles, the head coach at Nebraska, said it's a lot easier to win a conference title playing from ahead, and that's what we've done. We've put some money in the bank. We're 6-2 with some home games, but it's important. Again, this is that cliche that people kind of get sick of. You literally have to take it one moment at a time. For us, not even one game. We've got practice this afternoon. We've just got to worry about today's practice, today's focus, getting to class today and doing those things. That's really how you need to approach it. To answer the broader picture of going into year 3 here, I think we overachieved year 1 tremendously. My second year, I believe we underachieved, and that was on me as the head coach. But this is all part of the process. It's exciting. It's year 3 is it feels a lot longer, but you look in reality from where we started when I was hired to the position we put ourselves in is a true testament to the guys we've been able to bring in. And hopefully we can make a run here these last 8 games.
Right, like you mentioned, a lot of these home games coming up, 6 out of the 8 conference games left are at home. How big is that for the guys to wake up in their own bed, to not be sitting on a bus, like you said, for 10 hours?
Yeah, I think it's your routine. As an athlete, as you guys being student athletes, I think golf will classify as student athletes. But
we like hotels. Free breakfast.
Water
We
slides,
prefer the road, yeah.
Well, there's something to be. A lot of coaches like to get their athletes away from the distractions. The girlfriend in the dorm, but. For us, it offers routine. I wish I said we had a tremendous crowd advantage, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I wish we had a greater crowd advantage, and I think we have some success. So hopefully that'll show these next few games. But it offers a routine. Your bed, your meals, the familiarity with the locker room. This is where I'm sitting during pregame talk, and you're not on a bus for at shortest in our league, 4 hours, jumping off that bus, watching the girls' game, then you got to run around and play at a high level. So it offers routine. That's big.
Now, one final thought as we head into Valley, which is the first team we'll see for a second time as far as conference standings work out. we talked about this in the hallway yesterday. If you can beat a team twice, you get that tiebreaker over them, which could come down to seeding in the conference tournament, who plays where, that sort of thing.
Yep.
But on the same hand, you don't want to get beat by someone twice. So just kind of what are your thoughts about putting a team away, so to speak,
yeah,
and getting that little extra edge on those tiebreakers?
Yeah, that's big. I mean, you kind of said it all. You get an opportunity to really get a chance to go up 2, but really up 3 with the tiebreaker, and if that makes any kind of sense mathematically. And it's, they're a quality team. They're a team that went to the national tournament last year. So anytime you can defeat a quality opponent like that twice from your psyche standpoint, you got to like that going forward into your Saturday game as well.
Yeah, make sure you guys come out and take the opportunity to enjoy Coach Wetzel's first place Blue Hawk team Friday against Valley City, and then Saturday against Waldorf, a team that clipped the Blue Hawks, gave them their first conference loss. So lots of important play coming up in January, February, and hopefully into March. If the Blue Hawks continue to succeed, they'll keep playing at home in the conference tournament. Coach, thanks for
you.
joining.
Yep, thanks for having me. Good job.
We'll be back talking women's basketball. All right, welcome back to Hawk Talk. This time we're joined by Coach Graupe, a much tanner Coach Graupe after the trip to California. How was the trip for the team?
It was great. We played 2 different level teams. The Vanguard team might have been as good a team as we faced all year. And then, I tried to schedule so we wouldn't have such a tough game the second time around, or the second game in a St. Catherine, and we did beat them by 40. So, but we try to involve a lot of fun things. We don't make it just basketball. And this is the 3rd year now we've done that. 2 years ago it was Hawaii, last year Florida, and this year California. So we always try to take a southern road trip, and we do some things, like this year we went to Knott's Berry Farm. We went kayaking out in the ocean, and then we did take in the zoo, San Diego Zoo as well. So we did try to do some fun things intermixing with the basketball.
Definitely, we've talked to the girls that we've had on the program saying how much that helps with chemistry on and off the court. But then you ended up in Montana, different climate for sure, and down 14 against Rocky. 4th quarter, kind of right in the face of getting swept on that trip. I feel like that was a pretty important comeback there, and that's kind of propelled the team to some recent success. So if you can take us back through that comeback and how important that was.
It was 2 really different games. I was so disappointed with the Montana Western game, which is the first game, because we led throughout. Here was Montana Western. I think they were 13-0 at the time, and it would have been nice to give them their first loss of the season. Led the whole game and just let it slide. So very disappointing. But then you turn things around. We were behind big in the 4th quarter, made such a nice comeback. So it's just a tale of 2 games. One, letting it slip away, and the other, nice comeback. But it was propelled. We haven't lost since that Western game. It's been 7 in a row. And, it was a nice celebration, nice way to end that little 2-game mini trip, and it has propelled us into a lot bigger and better things.
Since then, back into conference play. That lone conference loss right now is Jamestown, who we won't see for till the end of February. But in the meantime, some tough games have come up, and Blue Hawks have been down late in the 4th quarter. You expressed some disappointment with how some of your veterans played early in the year, how they handled situations, but how proud are you of their ability to fight through in the 4th quarter, down, not panic, and come away with 2 big road wins in Presentation in Valley City?
And, even go back further, the Mayville game.
Sure.
So, so we've had several tight conference games, and I think we've come out on every one of them. So that's a great sign. I said the Mayville game was overtime, big win on the road. Presentation, we had our hands full, and yet we still managed to pull that out. I just watched the tape on Valley City. We were down 7 at one point in the 4th quarter, yet still found a way to come back. So, and again, people, especially if there's coaches watching, know how tough it is to win on the road. So that's a part I'm extremely proud of, that we've found a way, being down on the road, we've somehow found a way to win on the road, and that's been big, and it's resulted in a 7-1 conference record.
Obviously, a big piece of that, literally and figuratively, is Megan Klein. Leads the country in rebounding, but we talk about it when we're broadcasting the game. She's improved dramatically every year she's been in the program, and I think the best example of that this year is her free throw shooting. At one point shooting 40%, and she comes in 9 of 10 Valley City. You don't win that game without her shooting at the free throw line. So just speak to the growth you've seen in her as a player.
Megan, when she came here, people don't realize this. Her sophomore year, she wasn't starting, very limited minutes. And I don't know what clicked in Megan, but
no, it's you.
It's just something happened. Mayville State came in January of her sophomore year, and she just went nuts, scoring, rebounding, and ever since then, she's taken great pride in rebounding and trying to get if not going over one of your own teammates, it doesn't matter. She's going to get the rebounds, taking tremendous pride in that. Ever since that game, something just happened, and she's just been incredible. I think she led the nation in rebounding last year. Once again, she's leading the nation in rebounding. She's got a great 15-footer. You can't leave her open at the free throw line, and she was an All-American last year, and obviously one of the top players in the conference again, and one of the top players in the nation.
She has the benefactor of working on the screen and roll with Taylor Henningsgaard, who has an interesting situation. We're in the midst of that, playing her sister at Valley City. So touch on that unique relationship and what you saw on Monday of those two sisters going at it.
Well, first of all, you look up into the stands and you see all the relatives with, number 15, in Dickinson State over here, and then number 12, Valley City. They all had her sister over here, and so it's kind of neat to see the family, with a mixed shirt of, half of it's Dickinson State, half Valley City. But she said it was probably the first time that she's had to take on her sister, head to head. But I told her to trash talk a little bit before, and she said I didn't get a chance. But that's a neat situation. When you talk about Megan, we try to change our offense a little bit around Megan, just because Megan's not a low post person. She's not at her best when she's in the block, trying to post up. She's more of a face-up type person. So we put her at the free throw line, and this way she gets the screen, and then she gets to pick, and she's on the move toward the basket, where she can do something rather than post up with her back to the basket. Because again, that's not Megan's strength. Megan's more, she'd almost be like a 4 spot, to tell you the truth, but she has to play the 5 for us. And like I said, we couldn't be happier. We're very fortunate to have Megan Klein on the team.
So the Henningsgaard sisters will get to face off again this Friday. Interesting dynamic playing Valley City, back-to-back games, home and home. What's that like planning-wise off a team you've just seen?
Well, I don't know if there's enough time to make a lot of adjustments, but we'll still watch film on the game of Valley City and try to make a few adjustments. But again, you can't just totally change things. Who knows? Maybe we play more matchup zone. They did a little something. They threw a little wrinkle of trying to press us and take away Taylor Henningsgaard. So now we have to adjust and, in practice and do some things there. But again, not a lot of time to adjust. But the importance of this game, and I know you guys alluded to in the prior session, is if Valley City would win, we're even. And now the tiebreaker, what does it come down to? Because it's, a split. If you can beat them, technically, like you alluded to earlier, you go up 3 games, not 2, because in the win-loss column you're up 2. But then even if you're tied, you get the tiebreakers. So this game, their back's against the wall. They're going to come at us with everything they got, because they know the importance. We're all shooting for that number 2 seed. You, of course, would like the number 1 seed. But at worst case scenario, you want that 2 seed, and Valley knows the importance of it. So I guarantee you, come this Friday, they're going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at us due to the importance of that game.
We had a similarly important home game in the playoffs against them last year. Got to host that 2 versus 3 seed game against Valley City. Had a great crowd, great turnout.
And that's how important it is, just because you know that if you both win that opening round of the tournament, you want to host Valley City. We do not want to go back to Valley City. The last 2 years, they've taken it to us pretty good at Valley. So we felt very fortunate to win, but we don't want to go back there. We want to be the host if that is the case down the road. So it's that important to be at home.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons it's so important to be at home is for the fans to get behind the team. They did so in a fabulous fashion during that postseason run last year. So treat this one like a postseason game. Not only does it give us a great edge on the 2 seed, but it keeps us alive for that 1 seed face off with Jamestown.
And I share a lot of pictures from that crowd when Valley City was at our place. The crowd, the student section was waving. I mean, they were unbelievable. And we have a lot of pictures of that. I share that in recruiting newsletters, and so that was special. We want the fans, the students, come out. There's very few times now, there's no secret, we're laden with seniors, and you've only got a few games left to see these players play, and they've been a special group. Our last 2 years have been unbelievable. We've been ranked in the national polls both years, and this is your last chance, these last few games, to get out and support these seniors, and I hope our student section and the public can get out these last few times.
Absolutely. Like Coach said, he gave a great selling point. Come out for the women, stay for the men. The women's game, 5 points was the biggest lead either team had up until that 7-point lead in the fourth quarter. It's back and forth action. These two teams are very close.
They're receiving votes in the national poll.
Absolutely. Come on out Friday at 5:30. Then Saturday, once again, is that a
3 and 5.
3 and 5.
Yep.
Alrighty, Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. Coach. No hugs like Wetzel.
That's all right.
We'll be back with the Blue Feather Focus, speaking to a student athlete.
Life is full of many successes, achievements, stages. Every year we grow, things change, and pretty soon we realize we want and need to do more. When you're ready for that next step, Dickinson State University will get you there. Find out how at dsublue.com.
Welcome back to Hawk Talk. This is our Blue Feather Focus, the Blue Feather Athletic Association, part of the DSU Heritage Foundation that raises money for our athletic programs to bring student athletes from far and wide, and no better example than Lorna. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lorna. I'm a senior for basketball at Dickinson State. I'm from Brisbane, Australia.
All right, that's not right down the road by any stretch of the imagination. Just take us through the journey, first just of getting here, what that entailed.
Well, it was an interesting one. I was about to sign with a different school, and right as I was about to sign, Coach Harrison, the first-year coach here that recruited most of us, who was from New Zealand, called me and was like, come to our school, like, you'll love it. This is the program, this is what we're going to run. And I was like, I feel like this is meant to be. And I just took it and ran with it, got over here, and we had like 4 internationals on our team at the time, and it was a great first-year team. Like, the team we had was a great year, and tough though. We were in a tough conference, but it was just interesting. Every year it's kind of built from there. Graupe came in, and it was nice to have a consistent coach throughout it.
Yeah, that things have changed quite dramatically from a coaching perspective, from the makeup of the team. What has been the growth process that you've seen? You've been here for 5 years now. Seeing the team go from struggling to even get to a conference postseason tournament to all of a sudden last year making it all the way to the national tournament. What's that progress been like?
It has been an amazing experience to be on those teams with each other. Seeing that growth, like, we had a whole new team the first year after Harrison left. Then we had to do another rebuild after that with Graupe. And from there, every year we've just built. A lot of that probably goes to the credit of Coach Graupe with his recruiting. But we had some amazing players join our team and really help us move forward. And every year that chemistry built, and you could just see how our talents linked together and really brought us through.
Now, speaking on the dynamics of the team, you've got a lot of North Dakota girls, Montana girl. and then 3 internationals. What's the dynamic of, you know, some people going back to their family farm, but some people who can't, I mean, like yourself, you can't go home for a quick weekend. So what has been the experience of teaming up with people from so many different cultures?
Everyone out here is so lovely that it really is. They are always like, do you want to come home for Christmas? Do you want to come see my family? Do you want to come spend time with my family? And I remember my first years, I went home with like Miss Sheila. I met with other people's families, and they just always inviting you. Around Christmas time, I get text messages like from Marissa. She's like, hey, do you want to come over? And it's just amazing. And you can see that especially with Rachel and the Ben's family. She has literally become adopted into their family, and every holiday, everything, that's where she goes. And it's lovely to see how people do that knowing that you don't have family right there.
Speaking of family, you just told us prior to the start of this interview that someone special is coming in tonight, I believe. So just touch on what that experience is going to be like.
I'm pretty excited. My mum flies in tonight at around 9 o'clock. So I was really hoping it was going to be earlier in the day because I was like, I'm not a very patient person. And so she'll come in tonight, and she's here for about a month.
Okay.
So she gets to see, she really wanted to see a lot of our big games coming up, wanted to see Valley, wanted to see Jamestown Senior Night. So, and she was like, if we go to Nationals, which is where we're trying to go, she was like, I want to be there. So
Absolutely.
pretty excited for her to see where I've been as well for the last 5
Sure.
years, because this is the first time any of my family's going to see where I have been.
Awesome.
And she picked a good stretch, 6 out of the last 8 conference games at home. How fun will it be to look up in the crowd and see your mom sitting there?
Well, she's going to stand out. I'm going to be able to spot her. She has this bright red hair, so I'm gonna know where she's at all times. And it's going to be nice to be able to look up and see that I have support in the crowd. Normally when I look, there's just Dante. If any of you have met Dante, he's not a super like, go!
From the difference between he and Reggie's interview might explain that on HawkTalk.
My mom's going to be one of those fiery people that's going to be like, yes, let's go, let's get the ball. So it's going to be nice to be able to see someone up there supporting and having your back.
You said she wanted to be here for big games, and big games is exactly what she's going to start with Friday night. So let's look into the basketball side of things. The team really has a chance to do what you said your goal was, to get to that national tournament, but one of those big hurdles in the way is Valley City on Friday night. You cross that hurdle Monday night. So take us through that game, the comeback, your wide open layup that gave the team the lead, but also the problem with playing them one more time in a 5-day stretch.
To be honest, they're one of my favorite teams to play because it's always a competition and it's so equally matched that you're just always going head to head. And I'm not gonna lie, in that backdoor cut, I wasn't 100% sure on what the score was. I just knew that we needed points.
We did.
And we kind of went on this roll of getting some buckets up and rolling. And I'm kind of glad I didn't know what it was when I went for it. But it was nice to know that this is what we were getting. And it all came from teamwork as well. Like, Peyton gave the best pass possible to give that option. We had distraction and movement on the other side. It's all about team involvement.
Absolutely.
That's how you get it.
For those of you that didn't catch the Valley City game on Monday, the Blue Hawks were down 7, like Coach Graupe said, cut it to 4 points with under a minute left. Ashley Benslop hits the 3. They travel. Blue Hawks get the ball right back. Lorna Shepard finds herself wide open underneath the basket, backdoor cut for a go-ahead layup, then ended up icing the game at the free throw line. So that sets the stage for this Friday. We've talked about it with all of our interviews with Valley City coming to town, second time. Taylor Henningsker's got a sister on the team. How important is it for you guys to make sure she's got those family bragging rights for all Thanksgivings from here on out and getting those wins?
She is an amazing person when it comes. Taylor surprises me every time, and she's one of those people that under pressure you're not even going to be worried because she is clutch. She comes through, and you could see that before the game it was a nervous thing to get ready for, and when she came through it, you knew as soon as she came out it was drop.
Yeah.
Like, that's what she does, and you're never going to be hesitant to give her the ball because you know she's going for it. And I think it would be nice to have the bragging rights, but the funny thing is I don't think she's that concerned
Sure.
about it. She loves the game and she loves her family. We were talking about it beforehand, and I was like, oh, if it was my sister, I'd totally want to roughhouse her. And she was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So she is a very loving person, very competitive, but loving.
Yeah, not only Taylor, but there's, like we've talked about before with others, a lot of seniors, a lot of juniors. What's it been like moving into that leadership role when there's another couple seniors next to you?
I think it comes down to knowing where your role is in the team as well. Like we have a lot of seniors, but if you have a lot of voices, it's not going to be as smooth and successful. And I think as a team, we have noticed where our roles lie and where we look to leadership, as in like Rachel, is that's where we look to. She's a calm, collect person, knows what she's doing, runs through the offenses, and is willing to call you out and say, hey, like you need to work harder or you need to hit this screen. And we kind of look to that, realizing that a one voice is better than 10 voices, 12 voices yelling at one time.
We've touched on basketball, the growth process, the turnaround that you've been a part of. But what has your experience in Dickinson been like from a holistic standpoint, just stepping away from basketball?
I've loved my time here. I love my classes. I love my degree. I'm double majoring in psychology and exercise science with a minor in sociology. So I've been lucky enough to get like a wide variety of teachers to kind of go through. I will always remember my favorite psychology teacher, Wendy Wilson. She was just my highlight of all of the classes I took. My favorite ones, abnormal. They're things that you just remember because they're just highlights in your education. Sure. And they're teachers that really touch you in a concept of learning and growth. And it's been a great experience all around. Maybe not the weather, but everything else has been a great experience.
What's next for you after your time here is done?
I'd like to take a year off and just work, and then I'd like to go get my master's degree. That's what I'm looking to get in clinical psychology and further my studies.
Absolutely. We'll come on out. Support Lorna. You'll see her mother. She described her quite nicely. She'll be the one cheering louder than the rest of us, apparently. She's going to bring the rah-rah with her. But make sure you get the opportunity to watch Lorna and her teammates finish off what's been a great run here in Dickinson. Thanks for joining us, Lorna.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Lorna. Yep, like we said, 2 home games this weekend and then 2 home games the next weekend, and there'll be some wrestling in town as well. So get to Scott Gymnasium, and thank you, and we'll see you next week on Hawk Talk.